Now, it's time for Sports Talk with JJ and Bonsai Ben on 1130 The Tiger.
Special night here at Sports Talk. We have a rare, and I mean rare, in-studio guest. And this is one of these. We've been waiting for something like this to come along for quite a while. So we hope you will enjoy what we have to go tonight. We can talk about all the other stuff at another time. But tonight, when you have somebody who's got their own Wikipedia page because they're so famous.
That's pretty good. We don't have that, do we?
Famous in more than one way, but mainly because of he is, a few weeks ago I did a story in the Shreveport-Bossier Journal about Greg Procell, and it was quite by accident. I ran into him at a local eatery and said, hey, come on over here. Let me turn the tip. It's going to take 5 minutes. And I wanted to ask him some questions. And 25 minutes later, I was like, well, I didn't really ask him all I wanted to, but nevertheless, I got plenty. But Greg is one of the great basketball players of all time and just a tremendous storyteller. You may know him from basketball, you may know him from fishing, or you may just know him like the guy you see around. I looked up one day, he was raking home plate at Calvary Baptist for a baseball game. I looked up and saw him at a restaurant one day. I mean, he's everywhere. But he's with us tonight, and Greg, we appreciate you. But we're ready to hear some of your stories, and you tell some stories about those great days. Before we get to that, you can ask Greg a question if you'd like. The phone number is the Payne Mechanical Hotline. It's 725-5945, 725-5945. Or you can text on the Origin Bank text line. That number is 572-5919. It's 572-5919. Greg, first of all, thanks for being with us. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Bonsai over there has been he's got a little, not really a present, it's a picture we want to take afterward. because he loves to say, Greg did something only Wilt Chamberlain has done, but not what you might think it is. So given Wilt. I am curious, do people know who, I hate to say it this way, but do they know who you are? Do you go, hey, are you the guy who did this, that? Or are you just kind of like, are you the Toledo Ben guy? Or what do you hear the most when people talk to you about it?
Both. I know my wife used to get tired of it. We'd go out to eat or something other, and somebody wants to talk about basketball. Somebody wants to talk about fishing, and that kind of thing. You have to take time and be cordial. And really, I understand how some of these professional athletes are real famous guys that, can't go anywhere because everybody bombards them with kind of questions and stuff like that. You hate to be rude and you hate not to stop and talk to them. But so I try to be cordial and talk to him, but sometimes it does get a little bit annoying.
So do people say, I can't believe that's the guy who's the all-time leading scorer in the history of the United States basketball?
I was eating dinner with Coach Legg, who we talked about earlier, that coaches at Calvary, and my wife and Coach Legg's wife and a couple other people. And this guy, I just go to the bathroom and comes out. And he jumps up and says, Dad, this is him. I told you, that's him, And his dad was there, and his dad came around, and his dad said, I was at the game when y'all won the state championship. So I didn't know him from nobody, but they thought that was me. Of course, older, bigger, fatter, and I sat there and talked to him a few minutes. And like I said, you got to be cordial and talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, well, you'd probably rather talk about fishing, I guess, than basketball. Huh?
Well, sometimes that's probably what more I do now than basketball, and I enjoy talking about it. But still, yet, you get asked a lot of questions by a lot of people about that, even.
All right, so when you look back at your high school basketball career, what comes to mind?
Let's see. I guess, being a country kid raised up like we were, being in that gym on Friday, Saturday night, and that crowd, gym being packed. Where we went, it was packed. And people cheering for you and wanting you to do well. And I guess that was the best thing. It was just a lot of excitement. I wished I'd have took more of it in. Where I could remember a lot more of it. But it was just a fun time, and it was just a unique group of guys and from a little small town. And one of the guys on our team, Julius Eborb, he said, Hoosier stole our story. And that was Eborb in 1970.
Yeah. Now, growing up, I did a little research on you, that New York Times story. Yes, I said there's a New York Times story about you that was written about 20 years ago. Talked about your upbringing in Sabine Parish and how I think one of your family members said you didn't have electricity or running water until you were like 4 or 5 years old or something. I mean, it was tough.
Yeah, it was tough. It was a very country rural setting, and we lived mainly off the river and the land and what we grew, and it was 10 of us, and it was quite a struggle for my parents, and it was just like any other area, whether it's Shreveport or New Orleans or wherever. If you raised up in poverty, you got to do something special to get out of it, and a lot of athletes got out of that situation because of their practice habits. They wanted to do better, and I was fortunate enough to marry a great woman from here in Shreveport. She was a Hermes, Teresa Hermes, and that really helped me a lot. Her folks really helped me a lot, and it rest is history. But I was a practice nut, though. You have to understand. Right. I was a practice nut. I'm a practice nut in fishing. If I get into something, I'm gonna be as good as I can at it.
You told me the story about your golf game.
Yep, sure did. I had to play golf. I had an engineer. Let me say his name. He worked for JW Operating, Mr. Manny Hefner, and he never did want to see me too much until one day I told him I wanted to learn how to play golf. And he closed his computer up and he said, "What you want to do today?" I said, "Whatever you want to do, is go hit golf balls," he said. So I was 40, into my 40s, and nobody told me you cannot have 2 shag bags and hit 300 balls a day. Nobody told me that. So I had surgery on both of my feet because of golf. But I got pretty good at it. I got pretty good at it, and it hurts sometimes to do it, but we played a lot of golf.
So you practice golf like you practiced free throws back in the day.
That's correct. Yeah. That's correct.
All right. So what was the draw from your childhood? And you talked about how that was growing up. How did basketball get woven into that?
Well, that was the only sport we had there. It was a small school, from first grade through the 12th grade, and basketball was it. And I was fortunate enough to go to some of the games, and I seen the guys playing and all. But one of the stories I told, and this is true, everybody down there had a smokehouse because you cured meat to eat, and I was just a little guy, and I had a rusted out foot tub, and my daddy and all his brothers that lived there in our circle, they would drink beer and put their empties in those tubs, and I would pull one of those tubs around and shoot those beer cans in that rusted out foot tub that I had tacked on the smokehouse.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And that's how I got started. But my daddy said, "No, I'm going to put you a goal up if you're going to do this, because I can't open the door because you shoot so much to get in the smokehouse because the dirt would build up against it." That's a true story. And finally, he did put me up a goal and cut 2 sweet gum poles about that big and some old wood up there. And I don't know where he got the rim from. But
now the story said that Tootsie Roll Michelle came up with a bicycle tire or rim from a bicycle.
Yeah, I think he did have one. I started out over the rusted out foot tub, which is about that big around, and that's how I started. But I think he did have. But as we progressed, this was way before Toledo Bend. In front of the only country store down there was a pine tree, about 24 inches round. So the big boys had a goal on this side, and the little boys had a goal on this side. When you got good enough, you got to come around
other side of the pine tree.
Yeah, you get to come on the other side of the pine tree. So and I tell that story, and forever and ever that backboard stayed there on that tree after Toledo Bend flooded.
Wow.
Yes, true story.
All right, so we're with Greg Procell, a high school basketball legend, Bonsai.
All-time high school scoring champion.
Yeah, let's get
that 7th and 8th grade stuff is not going to. High school means high school.
That's
3 or 4 years. It's middle school. You're the high school champion. I don't hear any argument about it.
Let's get this out of the way.
Yes.
Tweety Carter from Reserve in Rivers. Anyway, his point totals are actually higher than Greg's, but the National High School Association only counts points scored by a 7th, 8th, 9th, and 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grader. Tweety Carter had some in the 7th grade and some in the 8th grade. So Greg's still the record holder. If you look it up, he's still the record holder. Tweety Carter's kind of got an asterisk by him. But nevertheless, we're talking about 1970, and nobody has really come close. You broke Jackie Moreland's record, who was from Minden, went on and played at Louisiana Tech and died in his in his 30s. But that was the night when you broke the scoring record. And again, we know people kind of wonder how is this possible all across the country. Well, Louisiana played a lot more games than anybody else did. Yeah. Greg, you also got started. Your season got started in October.
Yeah, no football.
Yeah, we had no football. We didn't have another sport. We was 57-12 our senior year, and I guess we played in 14 tournaments and played all over the state. And we had a good following. I knew they were rural country people, but they knew records was going to be broke and we was going to score. The fans would get mad if we didn't score 100 points. They were not happy, And that, like I said, guys, that was in the 60s and 1970. I mean. It was just a unique bunch of guys.
You go ahead.
Greg, when did you graduate from shooting beer cans to shooting basketballs and realize, you know what, I'm pretty good at this?
Well, I have to tell you one story. My daddy put those sweet gum poles up and got that old rickety board and put up there and a rim. I don't know where he got it from. I was probably in the 5th or 6th grade, probably in there. And somebody bought me a rubber Voigt orange basketball, okay? You can remember those.
Voigt? Oh, yeah.
We had them.
We wore them out in our back driveway.
Yeah. Okay. One of the saddest days of my life because I would shoot so much, and we didn't have no outside naturally, so we had a pine pile close by. Two things to the story. Pine pile close by, so I would get a 5-gallon bucket, and I would make me some fire in that bucket and I was able to shoot at night. And my daddy told me, now, boy, you better make sure you put them pine knots out. Yes, sir. Well, one night I didn't put them out. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, bam, bam, on the door. And it was my uncle. Get up, your house is on fire. And sure enough, the wood pile is on fire. And sure enough, it did catch fire and they put it out and all. But the saddest day of my life was when my rubber Voigt basketball that I shot so much, the black rubber came out.
Yeah, came through. Right.
Yeah, and
it's all over with when that happens.
It's all over with. There's no controlling it, So that did happen to me, and it was a sad day of my life. But anyway,
you told me the story about how they didn't give you the key to the gym because they couldn't do it when you were in the 7th grade, but they kind of left a window open or something like that.
Mr. Frank, we didn't call him Coach. We called him Mr. Frank. He's still living. He's 90 years old. I just had lunch with him and his wife, and they're up in age, and he would let me do that because he said, I knew you would not let other guys in there, and I'd get in there, and they'd be coming looking out the window, but I done told him I wouldn't let, and I'd shoot in there for 4, 5, 6 hours, and no air conditioning, no heat. And that's what I did.
But after shooting against a pine tree, to be inside with a regular goal is like being in Madison Square Garden.
What? Yeah, you ain't never lied because there was something to go from playing on the dirt out there to getting in that gym, and get to playing. And actually, I was on the varsity team as an 8th grader. But I can remember when Mr. Frank got serious about letting me play, and there's a picture of this, of my 2 sisters at the old house, way before Toledo Bend, and he told me, look, if I'm out of uniforms, but if you can find you a white T-shirt and a white pair of shorts, we'll figure something out, and you can play. I was just in the 7th grade. Well, I was playing against all those guys with 7th, 8th, and 9th, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm better than they are now, Coach. I didn't tell him that. So my sisters got a piece of red art paper, cut me a 0 out, and put it on my back. And after that night, though, I had a uniform.
You told me the story about you told Mr. Frank there was an 8th grade tournament when y'all in the 7th grade, and he said, well, y'all, why should I take y'all over there? You're going to get killed.
Yeah, that's what he said.
And what happened?
Well, he had a 62 Chevrolet hardtop, and there was only 6 of us. And they had an 8th grade tournament in Noble. It was in the springtime. That's what they did to get young kids to play. So we begged him to let us go with 7th graders. Oh, y'all won't do. Them boys beat y'all up. So we went over there as 7th graders, won the tournament. The first team we played, I hate to tell this, but we beat Pelican 98-6. And so after that, we had set a pretty good standards for ourselves, all the guys that won the state championship. So it was unfortunate that after my 9th grade year, he moved on and took another profession, but he kept up with us all that time.
Interesting story. You had 4 different coaches, is that right, or 3?
Let's see. I had Mr. Frank, Huey Cranford, Mr. Raymond, and Ken Hebert.
Yeah. So, interesting. Yeah, 4 different coaches. They all kind of walked in and said, I guess, Ben, let's don't change anything here. This guy could score.
Let this guy shoot a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to work off of that. We're going to talk more with Greg Procell, the all-time scorer in the history of high school basketball in the United States of America, also a world-renowned fishing guide at Toledo Bend and other places. Pleased to have him with us tonight. We're going to come back and ask him which moment. Was it scoring 100 points in a game? Was it breaking the all-time scoring record? Or was it winning the state championship on a magical day at Crossroads Coliseum, it was probably called Rapides Coliseum back then, in 1970, in a time in which you really can't understand how big high school basketball was in this state if you'd been in that year, maybe a couple years after that in the early 70s. We'll see which one is the one he considers the most significant. How about that? We'll come back with Greg Procell in just a moment. Here's a reminder about Two John's Steak and Seafood, located at 2151 Airline Drive in Bossier City. Go by and see them if you're looking for a delicious meal, or just stop by for on the way back from the oil field, perhaps, Greg. Drop by and get a nice little happy hour drink and enjoy time with some friends. There's live entertainment as well, and who knows who might be at the bar telling great stories like Greg Procell. It's Two John's Steak and Seafood, a fantastic wine list. Don't forget, Fridays, they're open for lunch, so if you're looking for the finest in fine dining and an elegant atmosphere, you will not find a better place than Two John's. 2151 Airline Drive in Bossier City. Call them at 841-5646. We'll be with Greg Procell. We're going to come back and talk more. Here's some of his great stories about basketball. And though Bonsai and I know nothing about fishing other than with a worm and a cane pole.
That's right. Fish for brim.
We'll try to ask a decent fishing question when it's over with as well.
That's impossible.
Here it comes. We'll come back with this after this break. Thanks for being with us. Sports Talk returns in a moment. We're with Greg Procell, all-time leading scorer in the history of high school basketball and quite the storyteller.
In the country.
Yes. A little while ago, I posed the question. I wonder which one he's most proud of or would like to talk about the most or significant, whatever it is, between scoring 100 points in a game, setting the all-time scoring record for high school basketball, or winning a pretty remarkable state championship game in 1970 at Rapides Coliseum, which had 13,000 people there that night. We'll find out that answer in a moment. If you have a question, you can text us on the Origin Bank text line, 572-5919. The Payne Mechanical hotline is 725-5945. Bonsai has written down what he thinks the answer is going to be. When I interviewed Greg a few weeks ago, I could tell one had a little more gleam in his eye than the others. So maybe we'll see if I'm right. Of those three, Greg, which one do you find to be the most significant?
I'd say winning the state championship because it was well-deserved by everybody that played on that team. There was some guys on there that were not selfish. One of them was my brother, Frank. One of them was Julius Ebar, of course, Walter Michelle, Lester Sepulveda, Junior Kurt. And they knew what to do to get me the ball where I could shoot, because without them, I would have not achieved what I did, because you would not run into a group of guys that was unselfish as they were to make sure I was in a position to shoot the ball.
Let's talk about the fact that Tootsie Roll, by the way, what'd you say? Oh, yeah, I thought it was a state title too. Because as great as Greg Procell's story is, they won the state title without you shooting the ball. They like quadruple covered you, I guess. Describe what happened that night.
Well,
or that afternoon, actually.
You know, like I said, the kid from Pleasant Hill, they had a 1-point lead with three seconds to go on the clock. And I drew up a play, as I understand it, to throw the ball after the guy broke away, and he threw it the length of the court, never touched nobody. So we get it underneath our goal. So Coach Hebert called timeout, and so we knew they were coming after me. And they had one guy that was 6'5", John Murray, that we played junior college ball together with Panola. And sure enough, they came after me, but we kind of had it set while we get the ball. Well, I get the ball to Tootsie Roll, and he just throws it from his waist, and I mean it hit nothing but net. And
15 feet, 12.
I'd say more. I'd say above the elbow, 3 or 4 foot above the elbow.
Wow.
and it didn't touch nothing but net, and fights broke out. People were screaming and hollering, and it wasn't nothing to go back and look at. Referee called.
Oh,
it
they
good.
thought it was.
Oh, time went out.
Yeah, time was gone. Time was gone, so they had to walk out on the court and say good.
Oh, whoa. So they didn't signal good right when they talked about it and then came back and said.
Well, they did pause for a little while that I can remember to make a decision, and they looked at one another and they said good. So that's when everything erupted.
Now,
Fights breaking out.
Yeah. Well, let's give the backstory.
Battles of the Palace.
You're playing Pleasant Hill.
Right.
For the what time that year? 9th time that year?
We played them 12 times. We beat them 8 out of 12. They had more talent than we did. But I don't know if I told you this, but Gene Wright, who was a guard at Northwestern, played in Sabine Parish, was really good in the Southland Conference, and he's got the beginning of Alzheimer's now, and I need to go see him. About 2 years ago, I saw him eating at a place there by my camp, and I said, Coach, come sit with me and eat with me. So he came over, and I brought his lunch. And he said, and I'm so proud of this, and he said, what was different about y'all's team than anybody else? And I said, no, sir. He said, y'all did not know how to lose. And I'm telling you, I got to thinking about that when I left there. That's one heck of a compliment. You don't know how to lose. And that's to find a team that can do that, you're going to win some ball games.
I guess frozen in your memory, 50, I don't want to do the numbers, 50-something years later, you can still see that ball going through the net where you were and seeing everything. Is it like in slow motion still?
Some of it I can, it's not because I got to begin in my Alzheimer's, but I'm a salesman and I'm horrible on names. I always have been. But a lot of stuff I don't remember. Julius Ebarb, a boy that played on the team, tell you some stories now because he's got one of them photographic memories. And I mean, sometimes he'll call me and he'll get to talk. He said, do you remember when you done this and you done that or we done this? I said, I got to believe you.
Now, you were down 9 with a minute and a half, something like that. I mean, you told me what Julius said. I went back and looked it up. It was close enough. Let's put it that way.
Right.
It's a pretty miraculous comeback no matter what.
Right. And we should have not won that ball game. We should have not had a chance to play in the state championship because of Bienville. They were more talented than us, bigger than us, and they had a good team. But we chipped away at them and got down to the last second shot right there in Bird Gym.
Now, semifinal game, you're playing against, Maurepas, no, somebody around Lafayette area. Maurice, there it is.
Maurice.
And I looked this story up. Ben, you're going to love this. They stalled so that he wouldn't set the scoring record, individual game scoring record. And
in the state tournament?
In the state, they knew they were going to lose. Okay. But they stalled at the end of the game because the year before, Maurice had set the top 20 record for most points by a team.
Yeah.
So they get to like 96. The record's 104, but there's 3 minutes left. So they take the air out of it.
Okay.
So finally, apparently, according to newspaper accounts, I'm not saying here, Greg, he goes to the free throw line towards the end of the game, makes 2 free throws, turns towards the bench, and the story politely says Greg told him, "We're number 1, Coach." Now, I don't know which digits we're talking about, but he let him know. Let's put it that way.
Well, you should have stuck it to him with that kind of attitude. That's good.
Yeah, because, back then, during the state tournament, they would call out the records during the game.
Yeah.
They would let you know where you
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They would let you know. And they did. They was behind by 16 with 3 minutes to go, and they held the ball.
Calling out the record.
Down 16.
Well, did they call out that you had 80 or 85 when you scored 100? Did you know where you were on that night?
I knew it was a lot, and I did hear some people saying, but the thing about that game, you don't understand. I had 55 at halftime, and the game was way out of control for the team that we played. And Coach took me out, and the people got to throwing stuff at him and hollering stuff at him, and he had to put me back in the game.
This is a home game?
He had to put me back in the game, So, I was satisfied because we beat them 149-79, I believe it was. And
did you know when you scored the 100th point?
I don't remember that.
Okay.
I didn't know I scored 100 until Jerry Bird. Maybe somebody said something that night. Maybe Mr. Murdoch that was keeping the book. Maybe he said, "Hey, he scored 100," and I think he kind of got around. Then the next day,
I guarantee you, Mr. Murdoch knew at the time.
Yeah,
he's keeping the book.
Yeah, he was keeping the book. And I'd love to be able to. If we still had that book at Ebarb, I'd like to see it.
You go.
All those twos, because there were no threes.
Yeah, that's
bunch
right.
of twos and circles with X's through them.
Yeah.
There's a famous sports writer story that when I wrote the story about him a couple of weeks ago, a couple of my sports writer friends said, okay, now the legend, you got to hear this, Ben. The legend is that in the Times the next day, or maybe it was the Journal, somebody said, but I think it was the Times, that Ebarb defeats Elizabeth 140-77, blah, blah, blah. And the last paragraph, Ebarb was led by Greg Procell, scored 100 points.
100. Oh, by the way.
I looked it up. It did not have it like that. It did not have it like that.
John, you talk about high school basketball back then. Of course, there was Maravich at LSU at about the same time.
Yeah,
And I was captivated, first of all, by Maravich. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
My first sports deal was Maravich.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. This guy's scoring a lot. And then I started reading about you. I'm going, wait a minute. There's a guy just down the street from us, basically, just doing what Maravich does. And I was, again, I can't tell you how many times I'd get up the next morning. I knew y'all were playing and see how many you scored. I was a big Ebarb fan from way up here in Shreveport. I always wanted to come watch you play, but either Dad wouldn't take me or it's a school night on a Tuesday.
Well, he
maybe.
still has the Jesuit gym record, by the way, for points.
If I remember, a friend of mine was guarding you that night or after when you played Jesuit.
Timmy?
Yeah. And he said,
Another Sabine Parish. Oh, well, he's very tight in Sabine Parish.
A good friend of mine, he said, you know what? I wasn't able to watch the game. He said, I held Procell to under his scoring average.
Yeah.
He said, that was just for a half, though.
Yeah.
He was proud that he kept you under your season scoring average, at least for a half.
Y'all played everybody, though.
Yeah.
You played Shreve, you played Bird, if I'm not mistaken. Woodlawn.
Yeah,
Whoa.
sure did.
Yeah.
Woodlawn.
Yeah.
We
That's
played
serious.
Woodlawn.
Well, it was the year before Parrish got there.
Yeah, the year before Parrish got there. Yeah, Mike Rose was on that team. Wayne
No
Barrett.
slouch.
Wayne Barrett. They had some guys. Most of those guys were sophomores. We were seniors.
Spaceman?
Davis.
No, he wasn't on
Melvin
that
Russell?
team.
No?
No, I guess that was after us. Huh?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. But their coach was Ken Ivey, and I remember them coming in the airline gym. They had, I believe it was 30 teams in that tournament. Back then they let school out, and everything else, and so when we got there and have a little bus, we go in there and it's full. The gym is packed. Up in the corner sits Woodlawn cheerleaders, probably 150 girls in red and white, and then comes in Woodlawn, and they all of them got red silk warm-ups on, and we barely got enough uniforms to match up, and it was nothing to us. I mean, we knew there was a AAA school, and that kind of thing, but I never will forget this. I don't remember much about it, but I remember this one guy, and I wished I knew who he was. I'd like to talk to him, and we get on a circle, and I'm right there, and he taps me on the leg, and he says, "Hey, hot dog, you're not going to get 40 tonight." And I just turned and looked at him and thought to myself, you do not know the ride you fixed to get. And he didn't last no time. He got 3 fouls. But they tell me this, and I don't know that I hold the gym, an airline gym, to this day. I scored 68 against Woodlawn, and we beat them.
I was going to say, you probably said, no, I'm not getting 40, I'm getting 60 on you.
Yeah,
Step in, buddy.
40, that's first half.
Exactly.
How did y'all do it back then? There's no three-point shot for kids. Ask your parents. We talked about Loyola Marymount a few years ago when they were so great in the 90s, but is that what y'all did, basically?
That was basically it, for as organized plays and all. Our organization was, we're going to run you down, we're going to trap you, and we're going to outshoot you. And that was pretty much our philosophy. If you wasn't ready to run, and not just me could run, everybody on that team could run, and they knew we had played together long enough. They knew where we need to get the ball and how to get it there, and it just worked,
If you don't know the legend of Sabine Parish basketball, I didn't realize this until I looked it up. Every school in that parish has won a state championship in boys basketball. Pleasant Hill, you were, of course, at Ebarb. Let's go. Mandy's won one. Wally's won a bunch. Florine's won them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Converse. Yes.
It's just Sabine Parish is unto itself. It is an interesting mix of people, and we talk about Acadiana as kind of its own self in Louisiana.
Oh, yeah.
Sabine Parish is its own self.
Yeah. I'd agree with that because, they were all small schools and spread out on a rural area. that was all the sports you had. So if you was an athlete and you didn't have nothing else to do, you shot basketball.
But there's also schools that no longer exist down there. Like Noble had a high school, I believe.
Yeah.
And
Noble, Pelican are two that I can think of right off. That,
Belmont was there. Belmont around there somewhere too.
Belmont too. That's
right.
Correct. Belmont and then after integration, you had some black schools that closed. One in Manny, one in Pleasant Hill. I know of those two that and the one in Zwolle. They integrated, and those schools shut down. And
Greg, when I was drawn to reading about you when I was a sophomore and freshman in high school, I thought that your buddy Walter Procell had a cool nickname. I mean, Tootsie, that kind of was. That's a kind of a cool nickname. Two questions. Number one, he wasn't bad either, by the way. Averaging, 20,
30,
22?
30 a game.
Oh, yeah.
30 a game.
Yeah.
How did he get a cool nickname like that? And did you ever get a cool nickname?
No, I didn't get I didn't ever get a nickname, and I don't know how it came about. We called him Tootsie Roll, But the other thing, and I don't know if this is good to say on air, but I guess it is, Julius Eborb, his nickname was Doo-Doo, and we never called him Julius Eborb. And so on the court, when we're playing, we're saying that. and his kids looking
Not a
around.
T?
Yeah, his kids looking around. Who are they talking about,
You're a bunch of Doo-Doo.
And now we call him just Doo. We don't say the whole thing, but he was very instrumental in the way we played, and he was just one of them unique small guys that was super quick, well built, tip-top shape. Did not want to shoot the ball. I'm not here to shoot the ball. That's not my job, And we had a couple guys on the team. Junior Kurt was a boy. We got lucky. His parents moved from Hemphill over to Eborb, and he was a football player, but he was about 6'1", muscled up, and he could hold his own underneath the goal. And if we hadn't had him, we probably would have won the state championship or had the year that we had. So he had a lot of good pieces in the puzzle, and he was one of those that, hey, Don, my job ain't to shoot the ball. I know what my job, get the rebound, defense, and other guys shoot the ball.
Well, your state title team, how long had y'all played together as a group?
Probably from the 7th grade up.
Yep.
Yeah, probably from the 7th grade up. So we was, matter of fact, Julius says that our freshman year, we went undefeated. We won every game, never lost a game. So, no, our 8th grade year, because I played on the varsity my freshman year. So our 8th grade year, we never lost a game. So
all right, on the Origin Bank text line, what is Greg's opinion about transfer portal and NIL for high school athletes?
That's a good question. I do not like it. I'm not a fan of it. I'll never be a fan of it. My college experience probably wasn't what it should have been, but I love going to class. I wasn't the brightest student in no class, but I'm glad I experienced having to get up and go to class. It trains you for when you become an adult. You have to get up, unless you're born rich or make a lot of money, you got to get up every morning and go to work. You got to get up every morning and go to school. And they paid for my education. I never paid one penny to get my degrees, and I just don't like it. I don't think it's a good thing like it is now. Everybody got their own opinion, but it's to me, it's just not the way I like to see it.
All right, we actually got a fishing question. We'll save that for when we come back. Yeah,
it's like home with a baseball question for LSU.
I don't know what that is, but all right, we'd be remiss in not asking world famous fishing guide Greg Procell a fishing question. By the way, you bound to know every inch, every drop of water on Toledo Bend, I would think, huh?
Well, it's a big lake, and I know a lot of it, and the whole time I was teaching and coaching, I guided, and during the holidays and the summer and stuff like that. But I don't guide anymore, but I do in one way, because I take so many customers I do business with in the oil field. I take them fishing. Matter of fact, last week I fished 4 days with different customers, and we had a good time and caught a lot of fish. And
you ready for this? The guy sent a picture. I'm listening while fishing Caddo Lake. Does Greg ever fish Caddo? And he's got a picture of him and a 6.1 pound fish just now on a OG6 flat side crank.
Crankbait. Yeah. On Caddo
It's like
Lake.
something in a motor.
Yeah.
Johnson rod.
That's pretty cool right there. Yeah.
Okay, we wouldn't know.
We wouldn't know.
That's a crankbait. Caddo Lake's got a lot of good fish on it.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and, it's too bad that the Slovenia's in it. But I just took a guy that fishes there a lot. His name is Doug Malmay. He works for Athon, and he fishes there a lot. And they catch a lot of big fish, And you got to have the mindset when you go there that you want to bites, and most of them will be big bites.
All right, with Greg Procell, I got the 1969-70 game by game.
Okay.
For Greg Procell. This was when you were 35 games into the season. Okay. He had just broken the record. Senior year.
Okay.
He averaged his freshman year. He averaged 24.1. His sophomore year, he averaged 34.7. His junior year, he slacked off a little bit, 34.0. Y'all lost to Maurice by 2 in the finals.
That's correct.
Ouch.
In the championship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should have won that one.
Should have won it.
And then the next year, again,
Motivation.
Pleasant Hill, Pitkin, Marthaville, Zwally, Pleasant Hill, Zwally, Ringgold, Provençal, Zwally, Marthaville, Robeline. Everyone's still playing football. God, you played Zwally back-to-back games. Manny, DeRitter, Pleasant Hill, John Galoo. Now, Bossier, Airline, Jesuit, Manny, Captain Shreve. I mean, you're playing the big. This story was written in December, so they just started playing basketball. The football teams had, and you're averaging 44.7 at the time. So against Captain Shreve, they held you to 27. Against Airline, you scored 53. Against Jesuit, you 60.
But only 38 and a half, according to my friend.
Right. Like you said, you played them all. Boy, you went down to Redemptorists and played them. I mean, there's y'all played them all. You were a Class C school.
Yeah.
I mean,
they were AAA most. Well, as big as it went.
AAA was the biggest as it was at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, and fairness to Shreve and Coach Wiggins, who was a good coach. Of course, talent makes a lot of good coaches, but we could have played Shreve 10 times and we never could have beat them. They were that talented. Jeff Sudds, Mike Harrell,
they were good.
They were good.
And again, y'all played them, lost 107-82. You still scored 82 against them.
Yeah, right.
Now, I love newspapers.com because I love to look at these old games I remember when I was a kid and want to make sure I remember them correctly. But in 1970, when they won the state championship in the afternoon, that night, Captain Shreve played Brother Martin in a very famous game. Shreve went to overtime and did not score in overtime because Harrell and Sudds and eventually Shelby House did it all fouled out. And it was 16-0 in overtime. Shreve could have won it in regulation.
Wow.
And they never scored again.
I think a guy named Chip Burnett was on that St. Aloysius team that played with us in the 1970 high school all-star game. Jeff Sudds was there, too. Did I tell you the story about Jeff Sudds and me?
No.
We got picked to go play in the Louisiana high school all-star game, okay? I was so poor. I didn't have a car. Jeff had an old raggedy Mustang, and we're on it. Some kind of way our letters got mixed up, went to report to Broussard Hall. So, and I guess I got a ride down there. I caught the bus down there. I don't remember. But anyway, me and him are there a day early because of our invitation. So it's getting late in the day, and I know he don't have very much more money than I had, which was hardly none. So we getting to wonder where we're going to sleep, So anyway, we're moving around on the campus and looking at. I look down this hallway at these dorm rooms, and I told him, I said, I don't see nobody down there. So I go in, and I go about the third door was open. I look, and there's 2 mattresses in there. Nobody's in there, nothing, no furniture, nothing. And I said, well, hey, we can sleep right here. And he said, well, I got to go get my boom box and all my gear, And he had one of them big boom box. That was a big thing back then for a black kid. And so we move in there. And me being a country boy, I get up early. And, man, I heard a bunch of female voices. And I'm thinking, oh, no. We're in a girls' dorm. It's 1970. You cannot be in a girls' dorm in 1970. And sure enough, I opened the door and I peeked down the hall, and that's where we was at. We're in the ladies' dorm. And so anyway, I told him, I said, look, dude, I got my little bit of gear, which wasn't nothing. I said, and when I see nobody down that hall, I'm going to that door and I'm going out. There wasn't but 3 doors down. I'm going out. And he said, well, you're going to have to help me with all. I said, no, I'm not going to help you, Jeff, boy. You're going to have to hustle for yourself. But anyway, to make a long story short, we made it out, and we played an all-star game. So,
Origin Bank text line, somebody says, I was at the Airline game. I think Airline won by 6 or 7. Good memory, or actually not a great memory. Ebar won by 6 or 7. Y'all won 89-83. You scored 53 that night. But I do remember Procell and Tootsie Roll, when they came across half court, that ball was going towards the bucket. Pulling up and shoot. All right. The night you broke the record, that was that was kind of what I wrote about. It was at Fairview Alpha, it was Fairview Alpha.
Yeah, right.
Which is no longer a high school, but it's still existence for as a junior high or a middle school, elementary school.
The gym is not there anymore.
Yeah.
The gym is not there. And I was working in the oil field, and I was going through there, going down to Ringgold or somewhere or another. And I said, I'm going to go in that old gym if they'll let me, So I pull up there, and there's the old gym, just like I remember, kind of like Eborp's, built by the WPA, Work Progress Administration. And I go in there, got a little kid class going over there, so I wanted to go where I stood,
Hoosiers.
Yeah, right. I wanted to go, Hoosiers. I wanted to go stand.
Oh, cool.
And I did. I walked down there. Didn't bother them. They didn't bother me. I stood there and looked at it and kind of thought this is where I broke the Louisiana high school scoring record and walked out. Nobody never said nothing to me, but I got to go stand in that old gym. And
did they let you know you'd done that? Did you know you'd done it? You know how many points you need that night? Did they stop the game and give you the ball?
They did. I still have the ball.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I
have
cool.
the ball. A lot of people.
It's not a red void by any chance.
No, it wasn't a red void. It was a Spalding. It was a good ball.
Yeah. All right, Greg. Real quickly, we're about to run out of time. Tell people what you do these days.
I work for different companies in the oil and gas industry. I've been doing it 32 years, and I work with and for a lot of good people, and I have a lot of fun doing it.
We've had a lot of fun having you with us here this evening. I know it's great to. You're a legend. We talk about it all the time. Whenever we get a chance we go off on tangents all the time on this show. We always kind of mention Greg Procell and 100 points, and it's just it's so great to talk to somebody who's again. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame induction was a few weeks ago, and I looked you up. You were the first high school player to make it in the Sports Hall of Fame. That was a number of years ago.
What took him so long?
Well, it's
Wasn't
tough.
it first year?
It's just tough. Because
I was inducted in the first year.
You were you went to Panola, then went to Northwestern State, and had a nice little career at Northwestern, but coached at Huntington and got into private business.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure, Greg. Thank you so much for being with us.
Enjoyed it, buddy. Nice to meet you. Tremendous.
You'll see him around town. Be sure and ask about him if you get a chance. He's something else.
The lunker's biting.
Something else. That's right. I'll be back tomorrow. Hunt Palmer will join us to talk about LSU stuff.
Till then, we will see ya.